the tylenol poisonings occurred. The first thing that popped into my head was, how could this possibly have happened at our plant?
A warning against the use of tylenol.
No one knew for days if the poisoned bottles were limited to Chicago. But even as the police and FBI began to search for clues, Jim Burke already had concluded that all Tylenol capsules, not just those in Chicago, but nationwide, should be recalled.
Johnson & Johnson will no longer manufacture or sell any capsule products made directly available to the consumer. While this decision is a financial burden to us, it does not begin to compare to the loss suffered by the family and friends of Diane Ellsroth. On behalf of the entire Johnson & Johnson organization, I have expressed our heartfelt sympathy to Diane's family and loved ones.
We asked James Burke, Chief Executive Officer at Johnson & Johnson, to let us watch behind the scenes as the story developed, and he agreed.
If we had done anything other than what we did, think of how those employees would have felt. I mean, the very soul of the corporation was watching us. The other thing I did that I think helped was I decided to talk to the heads of news of all of the networks alone. And by the way, the lawyers hated the fact I was doing it because they didn't know what our obligations were legally. And they were very, very opposed to it, and Larry Foster was opposed. Everybody was opposed to it. But I had felt that as long as the public was at stake, the media would behave extremely well, and they did.
Johnson & Johnson announced its new safety packaging.
This package has 3 separate barriers to entry and affords the public the best protection we could reasonably devise. The outer box has glued flaps.
Then there's a red seal, as you can see, around the outside, which is the second barrier. And then that's...
All right, look at that.
And that's the third barrier, which is a... Thank you.